If you know anything about pre-season football training, you probably know that it involves an awful lot of running. For most clubs, this used to just mean the bleep test. This would see players needing to run 20 metres before hearing a beep. They would then have to run 20 metres back before hearing the next beep. Over time, the beeps would get closer and closer together, meaning that a player would have to run faster to keep up, and the test would only come to an end once they were slower than the beep on 2 occasions. This was the norm throughout football clubs during the 80s and 90s, but over time, critiques began to emerge. Many felt that the continuous straight line running of the bleep test was not applicable to the fitness players would actually need in a game, where there are lots of short sprints and changes of direction. As a result, a host of new technologies started to emerge, and each manager or club will have their own drill to test their players' fitness on the first day back from pre-season. So what exactly are they doing, and just how difficult is it? The 6-minute running test is one preferred by Arne Slot at Liverpool, and on the surface it's relatively simple. Players are told to do as many laps of a 400-metre track as possible in the space of 6 minutes, and the expectation is that they complete between 1.5 and 2 kilometres in this time. The reason 6 minutes is chosen as the length is because this is roughly the duration that you can maintain your VO2 max, or the highest rate at which your body can use oxygen. Thomas Frank, meanwhile, favours the 1K test, where players are made to run 10 100-metre lengths as quickly as they can. Again, this doesn't seem too complicated, but when you consider the changing of direction, acceleration and deceleration that comes at the end of each lap, then it suddenly looks a lot more difficult. The expectation is that players will complete the drill in under 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and Brentford's Vitaly Janelt once admitted being so worried about the drill, he lost sleep the night before doing it. The Bronco test has been used by the New Zealand rugby team for years, but recently it's started to become more common in football. Red, yellow and orange cones are all laid on the pitch. The red cone is 20 metres away, the yellow cone is 40 metres away and the orange one is 60 metres. Players must run to the red cone and back, yellow cone and back, and then orange cone and back, continuously 5 times. Bristol City are one of the football clubs who use it, and their players are expected to complete the drill in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. For context, that's only 18 seconds slower than the All Blacks record that was set by Bowden Barrett in 2020. Leicester City and Swansea City both use the SDS test, the single-double-single, which is a little bit more complicated than the others so far. With the help of an audio track that controls the pace with beeps at every marker, each individual rep consists of 3 runs. A 12-second 60-metre single run to the start, followed by a 3-second rest, a 16-second 72-metre double run, followed by another 3-second rest, and finally a 12-second 60-metre single run back to the start. The players then have a 12-second rest before repeating the rep. The Gacon was invented by former PSG fitness coach Georges Gacon and is synonymous with former PSG player Maurizio Pochettino today. To start with, the players have 45 seconds to cover 150 metres, with 15 seconds to rest. In each subsequent 45-second rep, they have to run 6.25 metres further, with the intensity steadily increasing. The players are supposed to repeat this until they're unable to continue. And Pochettino has used this as a way to test his players' mental barriers as well as their physical ones. While in pre-season with Chelsea, the Argentinian set his players a target of 10 reps. He then offered them the chance to stop at 8, but said that if every player completed the final 2 reps, then he'd buy the whole squad dinner. Most of the tests so far have been designed to bring players to exhaustion, but the problem with that is that it's very hard for players to pace themselves. The 30-15 IFT looks to fix that. Similar to the bleep test, players have to run back and forth in time to a beep, but the distance gets progressively longer each time rather than staying the same. That's because as well as the speed increasing by 0.5 kilometers per hour at each stage, every run is 30 seconds. Another key difference is that at the end of each run, there is a 15-second recovery period before walking towards the next starting point, which is identified by the audio. The aim of this is to replicate the intermittent efforts you see in football and test players' ability to recover, turn and change direction. Carlos Baleba is a star pupil, while at Lille, the Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder reached speeds of 22.5 kilometers per hour, by which time he'd run the best part of 3 kilometers. And this test isn't just used by footballers. In fact, the star pupils, across other sports, tend to come from Australian rules football.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and James Horncastle. With the latest transfer news and insight on every Premier League football story that matters, theathletic.com puts you inside football.